Hi, it's Jen at Shabby Fabrics. Our creative team loves to take existing products and maybe put a very fun and creative spin on that. And we've literally done that with the Bargello tree skirt. It's so beautiful in the Glad Tidings collection using the June Tailor Quilt As You Go pre-printed batting. So I love that we can take a really great product which makes a cute tree skirt, and it can be as simple as you want or as scrappy as you want. We've done this in Homegrown Holidays from Moda using a jelly roll, or you can do it in a very organized way and create a Bargello effect. And we just think this is so much fun. I cannot wait to show you how easy it is to do. This is, in order to do this project, you'll be sure to pick up the Bargello tree skirt pattern, and you'll need the June Tailor Quilt As You Go tree skirt batting. So you'll be using the instructions from the pattern as well as from the batting. They've included that in there. You get, of course, a picture of their tree skirt as well as their instructions, and then the batting. So once you get your batting open, naturally it'll have wrinkles. Don't worry about that. Don't be tempted to iron that. Just open it up, let it relax, and as you work with the batting, it will naturally begin to smooth out. Now, I've already recorded a video on how to use the tree skirt batting in great detail so that you don't even really need to refer to the instructions. You can just watch the video and know how to be able to make the tree skirt. So be sure to refer to that. I just want to show you the portion that really creates the Bargello effect and how it will be just a little bit different and a lot of fun to be able to create this really beautiful effect. So just like before, you're going to, of course, need to have good quality fabric, and in this particular kit, we've got Glad Tidings. It has this beautiful metallic detail, which I love. I love sparkle at Christmas time, especially. So inside the Bargello Christmas tree skirt pattern, we've included specific layout and pressing directions so that you know how to create each of your kind of wedges, so to speak. So they'll look like this. I want to show you that, and you'll be able to use the template that is also included with your tree skirt batting. This is included at no extra charge. I think that's amazing. You can use it again and again, and you will be able to lay that out and ultimately cut out your strips. And again, referring to the pattern, it'll show you the sequence of each fabric, the size to cut each fabric, so you'll be able to make the Bargello tree skirt just as shown behind me. So let me just give you a couple pointers on that. I just think it's such a cool thing, and it's going to be really a conversation piece. People will notice this for sure and ask you about it. So get ready for that. People are going to want to know, how did you make that? It's really interesting. It's really beautiful. So one of the things that we point out inside the pattern, we of course let you know what size to cut all of your fabrics, and then to lay them out, you'll of course want to stack them real nice and straight, kind of like a little pyramid. And one of the things that we wanted to mention and helping yourself stay really good and aligned is, of course, you're going to want to stack one fabric directly above the other. We'll just be starting with our first wedge here. Step one will really be to just lay that out and make sure you've got all of your shapes the right size and in the right sequence. As you can imagine, the sequence on this has to be perfect for the look to be the same. So you want to make sure you get a good look at that before you sew it together. Otherwise, you will need to seam rip that and do it again, and before you cut that with, of course, your nice wedge that's included. So I'm just going to lay those out. Step one, lay them out. Make sure everything is the right size and in the right orientation. When you look at your picture, you're like, yep. The direction of the arrow lets us know that once it's all sewn together, our seams will be going upward and our other seams on the next row will be going down. So all of our odd rows will be pressing seams up. All of our even rows will be pressing seams down. We'll get nice interlocking seams by doing that. The other thing we want to make sure that you do is make sure everything's nicely stacked, and so that when it's sewn together and we go ahead and put our template on top, that it fits. So in order to do that, something that we discovered when we were creating this pattern is to go ahead and if you create just a little bit of a crease on this one, And you can even do it with a finger press. You don't even have to necessarily do that with an iron. And with this one, we press to find our center, just like that. And we know that when these are placed right sides together, pressed like that, you see how they nest perfectly? The one crease is here and the other crease is here, and they just kind of fold right together. So let's go ahead and we're just going to sew that 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so we know that our instructions are saying, okay, I'm on row 1. Be sure to press those seams upward. As always, when you're piecing a bunch of strips together, you want to really piece them in groups of 2s or 3s versus me just adding on and adding on and adding on. You kind of get this turning effect. I don't actually know why that happens, but I just know it's real because I've experienced it, and I know other quilters have talked about this as well. So I would go ahead and put that up there for now and do my next 2 again, doing that same fold so they nest beautifully together. Go ahead and press that, and then you'll sew those 2 together, maybe those 4, and then you sew that into one continuous piece. So let's put that aside. Let's go ahead and bring out the one that we did piece, and I wanted to talk to you about the template. So let's grab that real quick, put that right there. So once you have that all pieced, it's great to just confirm one more time that, oh, not that one, well, let's grab the other one that's not cut yet because I want to be able to cut that with you. Just confirm one more time, yep, that's absolutely what I'm expecting. Nothing's out of sequence. It's so easy to have that happen, especially if we get interrupted, which definitely I know happens to a lot of us. Something happens, we get interrupted, we come back, and somehow something gets turned around. But let's say we are very happy with that. Now, as I lay my template on, you can see those lines. You can see that 1/4 inch seam is really important. Now, if you're finding out that your line is here, it's probably that your 1/4 inch seam is off. So you want to definitely check that. Now you've got a couple options at this point that you could do. If you're nervous about cutting the template by mistake with your rotary cutter, you've got a couple things. You can place another ruler, the 2.5 by 24.5 inch ruler. I love that. I'm basically right over top of my template, being able to press down, and I can make that cut. If you're still worried about this template moving away, and it has a grip underneath it so it shouldn't move, but if you're still worried, then by all means go ahead, use a friction pen and just draw along that. I would move the template out of the way, and then you can come back with your ruler and go ahead and make that cut. Now I know that I trust my Creative Grid rulers, have a really nice grip on the back. They all have these kind of dots. It's one of the things about Creative Grids that I love and I trust, and I know that I need to also do my part in having a good amount of downward pressure, not back here, but maybe right smack in the middle so that pressure is distributed both backward and forward toward the end of the cut. And let's go ahead. We're not going to do any of this fast. Notice I moved my hands. I felt like as I got further away, I was like taking a chance that would slip away. So I just went ahead and moved my hand. Now, this is too big to go on a spinning mat. So in this instance, while I love my spinning mat, if you've seen any of my videos, you know I love that tool. I don't get to use that because it's too big. So we have to realign. Or, you know, maybe find yourself on a table where you can move yourself. Of course, this table's so big, I can't really do that. So I have to move my shape, and I get lined back up, and the same will be true. Let's go ahead and put that Creative Grid ruler on there, and let's make that next cut. Notice I'm not even trying to cut this end down here, not yet. I'll do that in the very end. I'm nice and lined up. Let's go ahead and make the cut. I'm going to stop just midway and move my hand, pressing down, making sure nothing has moved. Now I would love to not have to move that one more time, but it looks like I do. Just my table is so big to be able to fit everything on there for video, and line back up. So there is some value in being able to just draw around the shape right away with the friction pen on the template, because then you're not having to realign that template over and over again. So just an option to think about for you. And then one final cut up here at the top. Let's get that lined up just like that. And of course, it's nice to have a smaller ruler. I've got this one right here. We can just put, because you can imagine this is a little bit more awkward to use on such a small space, and we'll give that a cut. All right, so what's the next step? And of course, we've covered that on the longer tutorial. That's where you go ahead and grab out. I can just move some of the things out of the way right now. We'll go ahead and do that. Just get ourselves a little bit more space. Now you would have had the backing on the back of this. You would have sewn the line representing the shape. All of that's in the other video. Be sure to grab that video. Go ahead and watch that video if you're not familiar with what I'm referring to. But assuming those steps would be done, again, the backing is already on. Of course, that's going to be included in your kit if you're going to be selecting the kit. And you'll just follow the June Tailor instructions. You'll go back to that pattern where you'll put the wedges down. I believe this was our first one. Going ahead and putting that down. Now you would sew that 1/4 inch as you'd expect. Of course, you want to pin that. Be sure to use those pins. And I love my clover flower pins anytime I'm dealing with batting. So I'm going to look, make sure everything is nested beautifully. Go ahead and pin, sew with a 1/4 inch, and I know you're going to be tempted to iron. It's like our go-to thing. You'll use your clover roll and press to go ahead and press that seam open, and then the next wedge would come. This is where the purple thing would come into play. So let's pretend that the next row here, I don't have that with me, is the seams going up. Here's what I'm trying to show you. I'm just going to pretend. Can you pretend with me? I know you can. That would be the next row, which is an odd row. We know those seams are going up. That's when the purple thing comes into effect, because, and I'm going to do kind of a mock sewing. I want to show you something. If you quilt, you know what I'm going to show you, because this has happened to you before when you've had a rolled seam. So let's just run over to that sewing machine. Again, my backing's not on, so I don't want to sew this down. I'm not quite ready. That's in our fuller tutorial. So I just want to show you what can happen, what does happen when you're moving along. In fact, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to do just a touch of sewing because I want you to see what happens in real life. So you can see why this little tool, which is just a couple dollars, is such a great thing. I'll just seam rip this out. You've seen me do so much seam ripping. As I'm moving, it's sometimes easy for that flap, for that presser foot on any machine to get underneath the fabric. That's the beauty of having the purple thing, so that I'm not tempted to get my fingers in the way. So it's just a great tool to go ahead and keep you safe. So let's come back over here to the front. You know, as I mentioned, we've already a while back showed you just this amazing pre-printed batting and how fun and easy it is to make your own homemade tree skirt. You don't need to go buy one from a big box store and it looks the same in everybody's house. You get to make yours for you, and you get to make it customized for your family, and you can complete an entire look in your home by using your favorite fabric collection. And what a great gift. So if you too are as excited about the Bargello tree skirt look, grab that kit. It's fun to give it a try. Or maybe you have your own stash of fabric you want to use. Just grab the pattern. But be sure to grab the batting kit as well. You'll need that. So thanks for letting me show you this new design from Shabby Fabrics. I'll see you on a future Shabby video.